learning more and more about what's going on in Darfur and places around the world, we want to recognize that we lost in September one of our big heroes in this movement, and has been for many years. You're receiving a card that tells you some about Martina, and then has a call to action on the back, which we'll explain. So if you'll just bear with us a few minutes, we're going to tell you some about Martina and what made her so special, and how we can continue her amazing work forward. Oh yes, and I'm Cory Williams, and I'm with Darfur and Beyond, and I'm a Carl Wilkins Fellow.
Good morning, everyone. I'm LeeAnn, and I'm with Cancer Foundation USA, but knew Martina, as did Cory and April, who's filming this morning, and Myra, who's passing out the cards. We were all fortunate to be Carl Wilkins Fellows, and you'll be meeting Carl and hearing from him later on today. And we all were part of that fellowship, and Martina was in our cohort. She was another fellow. And so very sad for us to have lost her, and such an important voice in the anti-genocide movement, but really pleased that we have the opportunity this morning to not only recognize her, but issue this call to action. And I just have a short piece that I want to read to you that was written by another one of the Carl Wilkins Fellows who, like Cory, knew Martina very well, and hope that this inspires you. It's brief, but let me share this with you this morning. The Dash, a poem by Linda Ellis, calls attention to that dash between the dates on a headstone listing the date of birth and the date of a person's death, the beginning of a life and its end. But what about the dash in between those dates, she asks. It represents all the time that the person spent alive on Earth. The genocide in Darfur clearly brought us all together here today, but for many of us, it brought us to Martina, and Martina's dash is a lesson for us all. A child of Holocaust survivors, Martina was raised without religion. Her mother had never explained to Martina that she was Jewish. In 1999, when her mother died, a rabbi explained to her that because her mother was Jewish, Martina was too. That news was a tremendous sense of relief for Martina, because it made her feel like she belonged to a community for the first time in her life. That moment essentially motivated her pivot away from being a successful corporate attorney and towards her new life as a passionate human rights activist. Before 2004, she thought activists were people who marched in the street, protested war, and got arrested. What changed her mind was when she learned about the genocide in Darfur. Typically Martina, she immersed herself in studying everything she could about Darfur, Sudan, and genocide. What motivated her until her last day was the first thought she had upon hearing about the genocide in Darfur, that if she could help just one child not experience what she went through as a second-generation survivor, it would be worth it. Martina felt that she and her mother suffered mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, even though her parents were well educated and had good jobs when they immigrated to the US from Austria when she was 2 years old. She spent the next 12 years completely dedicated to repairing the world while knowing full well that ridding the world of racism, anti-Semitism, mass atrocities, and genocide would not happen in her lifetime, but she was motivated nonetheless to never give up trying. She was a bi-coastal advocate, lobbying on issues in California, as well as at the UN, Capitol Hill, the State Department, and in meetings with a variety of NGO leaders and change makers. She organized events, wrote briefs, lost my place here, and letters that demanded attention and action, and she counseled other activists on complicated issues and worked tirelessly to keep the nationwide cohort of Carl Wilkins Fellows together through actions and advocacy. She signed her emails with solidarity and gratitude, forever grateful and generous with her efforts. Martina was also passionate about the San Francisco Giants baseball team. She could have listed any of their statistics off the top of her head, from pitching rotations to any of the players' bios at any given moment, but she never realized what a giant she was for all of us. The spark that lived inside of Martina was unique and precious to us all, but it's hers no more. That spark is now ours as an eternal flame of memory, which motivates us to continue what she could no longer finish. Her legacy survives for the sake of Tikkun Olam, a Hebrew term meaning repair of the world. Today we bring honor to her through her memory, through her words, her dash, not only through our words but also through her deeds, and may the beauty of her spark continue to shine through all of us.
Thank you very much, LeeAnn. Those beautiful words from Melanie. So through the work that you just heard about that Martina did, she traveled all over California. She went to universities, colleges, schools, civic centers to escalate the things that were going on in Darfur. She made many trips to Congress, to the State Department, to USAID to get action against the atrocities. I spoke with a number of Darfuris that had worked very closely with Martina over the years, and the stories that they gave me, even I, as one of her good friends, didn't know. But she worked away from the limelight so much. So in 2008, one of the major things she did, it was when the Sudanese regime had really escalated their violence against the people in Darfur. They were actually kidnapping people and moving them into detention camps and treating them with extreme torture. When Martina learned of that, she started making countless phone calls to U.S. officials, just agencies, officials, anyone that would take her call, and she succeeded to get a list of people that were missing to the consulate in Khartoum, to the U.S. Assistant Ambassador in Khartoum. And that man, his last name was Fernandez, and that man then took those lists and every day would go to the head of the security in Sudan and ask for these people. And every day they would say they didn't know, but they would continue with the list, and Martina would continue providing names. And after everything calmed down, and a lot of the Darfuris were then let go from those detention camps, they told the people in the U.S. that it was those lists that saved their lives. That ambassador assistant coming every day with those lists, well, those lists were what Martina kept pounding and pounding and pounding. So an action by any of us can make a huge difference, and that's what this conference is all about. And whatever we can do is very, very important, and that's what we would like you to do near the end of the conference, is to write an action that you would like to commit to in the next 30 days or even sometime after that to continue Martina's mission. So what we've given you is just a few examples of Martina's actions that saved the lives of countless Darfuris and got the word out to many, many different agencies and countries. So what the Darfuris had told me is they told me that she is a shining star in a dark slot of time in history. And that is our Martina, and we will carry on her mission from here. Thank you very much.
Well said, Cory and LeeAnn. And for me, as someone who survived the genocide in Darfur and a Sudanese citizen in the United States, Martina held a very, very special place in our heart. She has been advocating tirelessly on our behalf, speaking out. The sickness, the tiredness, and everything has not stopped her from doing this. And her loss today, I don't think she will never ever be forgotten. She will continue to live among us, not because she will be physically present, but she will be among us because of the work that she has contributed and because of her place in our heart. And that's why I urge us all here that in life you have the opportunity to choose how you want to spend your life. There are people who live and go and no one will even remember them. But there are people who live, when they go, they continue to live among so many other people. And that is exactly what Martina will do. She will continue to be among us because of the meaningful work that she has been doing on our behalf and so many people who have been oppressed. And that's why, for me, to honor Martina, to continue to fight for the causes that she have joined us to fight for. And I also ask you, for those who are taking actions, pick a cause. You're not necessarily doing Darfur or Sudan or Burma, the Congo or AIDS or any other cause, but you have to have a cause and fight for. That may add so much meaning to your life. And to honor Martina today, I hope you will join us in doing, taking an action and dedicating it to her using our hashtag is Women and Genocide, and dedicating any action between now and 30 days from now to ensure that she will be remembered in a good way based on her contribution and her dedication, and that we all will continue to live meaningful life that through which we can make a difference even in one person's life.